I'm so tired. As if this winter hasn't been intense enough, we're now going to be welcoming our 10th atmospheric river since December 26th, I believe. We love storms up here. They're beautiful, they're exciting and dramatic, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't over the mud and the downed trees and branches. And because I'm so scatterbrained, I haven't done any work on drainage or mulching the runs or any of that stuff that I had planned to do and need to do. Well, we did our best to prepare our trees for storms this year. We never would have imagined the level of heavy, wet snow that fell, which obviously brought down this branch behind me. We also didn't plan for wave after wave of these atmospheric rivers that have come through California this year. Some of them dropped upwards of 10 inches of rain at a time. And when your ground is already saturated, like I've mentioned before, that causes a lot of problems. Disasters. Can I get it in before Petey gets here? I'm missing a goat. I'm so excited. I just got the first egg out of Rosalie, our black copper Moran, for the first time in a while. So pretty. Unfortunately, I haven't been checking their nesting boxes regularly just because they hadn't been laying and I wasn't expecting them to start until all this awful weather passed. I'm not sure if she's been brooding on this egg or not, so I'm a little bit nervous about it. Once again, totally scatterbrained. Oh my goodness, Dolly. I thought you were in the barn. Oh no. Come on, go in, get inside and get some food. Here you go. Oh my God. It wasn't Dolly. Who is that? Is that Nova again? Oh, I think that's Nova. Nova, where were you? Sorry guys, it's another messy day. So I had this whole plan to do a video on predators and safe structures, which I will still do at some point. But I started recording it and it was awful, and so I just scrapped that whole idea. And since our horrendous weather is seemingly never ending, I decided to just continue on with that theme even if it's boring. It's really important for me to stay on a schedule, so I'm just rolling with this bad weather right now. We are officially in the midst of atmospheric river number 10, with atmospheric river number 11 arriving on Monday. My husband and I were slightly delirious this morning with the weather as it is, complaining like a couple of old people. I won't tell you the words we chose to chastise Mother Nature, but they were choice. We are so over it this year. It's just, it doesn't ever seem to stop. Thankfully, the man who owns the company that did our last round of tree work came by yesterday just to check in and see how we'd fared during the snowfall. He pointed out all the cracks in the goat's oak tree that I hadn't even seen. I hadn't noticed most of these cracks. I just knew that we're bound to lose more branches if we didn't do anything about it. So he actually gave us a quote and offered to come back same day to take care of it. We agreed, and an hour later the crew was here, which is fantastic. Had they not done that work yesterday, I guarantee today we would have many more branches on the ground, potentially more damage to the barn. So I'm incredibly grateful that he stopped by and was willing to jump right in and fix all of this for us. I've got a huge pile of eggs on the chicken side of the barn that I was unable to get to because I couldn't open that side of the barn, and there's a wall, if you haven't noticed, in the middle of the barn. Of course, I could have climbed over it, and I would have at some point, but my pain is not great lately, and I really didn't want to climb over that wall because I knew it wasn't gonna serve me well. So I'm very grateful. I'm gonna go down and probably toss those eggs. I don't know what's been going on with them, if anyone's been sitting on them. It's not like we're short on eggs right now. I think we're getting over 50 eggs a week at the moment. I'm stoked. Just a moment ago, I was able to get the goats' tarp back up so that they can finally eat outside again, which is huge. Their barn is just a mess of hay. It is such a pain to clean that hay out once it starts getting peed on and stomped down. It rolls up like a heavy carpet when it's time to clean it. It's disgusting. I hate feeding them in there, but sometimes I don't really have a choice. But now they're back to eating outside, which is great. There's such a mess of hay behind here. It gets wet, it clogs up the kind of groove for the barn door to open, so I'm not sure how well this is gonna open. Oh, that's surprising. It's not gonna open much further than that, but I can squeeze through. There's their pile of eggs behind me. These are all going to waste. They're muddy and just nasty, so I'll feed those back to the chickens. They'll enjoy that. Also, because I couldn't get on this side, I've just been sort of dumping food over the wall into this little container here instead of into their big feeder. So thankfully now I can fill their big feeder back up. I don't know, I'm feeling a bit of relief now. It feels like things are a bit leaning toward normalcy, which, as I've mentioned before, is something that I thrive on. So now these trees are out, their barn door will open. I'm feeling a fair bit better. So I thought I'd walk down and see what our landslide is up to. It's been a while since I've checked it. I'm really hoping that it's not any worse. We'll see. Okay, it's looking about the same. Oh, okay, maybe not quite the same. It's gotten a little bit worse. Wish there was a better way to demonstrate just how large this is. It's massive, and I'll see if I can insert here what it started off as. It started over there, and it was just a tiny little bit. And then it kept expanding. Came up here, and now obviously there's more trees on the ground there. I probably shouldn't even be standing here, honestly. In fact, I'm gonna move. So yeah, not great. I don't even know what to do for that if anyone has suggestions. My sister had suggested throwing some wildflower seeds on there to try and give it maybe a little bit more stability. I bought a pound of those, but I think I'm gonna need to get some more. I really don't know what to do with this. It keeps going. And if this winter and this rain doesn't stop soon, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. Yeah, rough winter. I wish I'd gotten this on camera. I just completely bailed. Enough. This is like, I can't handle it anymore. I'm going crazy. It's like I mentioned, this hay, it gets wet and gross, and I just stepped on a big clump of it, which just sent me down on my ass. Good times. These guys are enjoying themselves. I know the girl. So the chicken you saw this morning, drenched like a drowned rat, is Nova. She's right behind me there. She's not had the easiest life. The group she was hatched with had 9 roosters, and those were eventually culled for food. I'll probably explain that story another day. They had a really great life, I can say that much. But anyway, just prior to me moving them to their new location, she was basically abused by them. I don't know how else to put it, or overused. And she ended up with a scar on her head. It was really sad. The day I noticed that is the day those roosters were out. Anyway, so she had a rough start, and then not long after that we had a huge storm, and I was trying to put all the chickens to bed, and she ended up flying way up high in a tree at bedtime. And I tried everything, I couldn't get her down, so she ended up staying outside all night in that storm. And of course I didn't sleep at all because I knew she wasn't sleeping, and it was just a sickening feeling. She's the first chicken that ever ended up staying outside overnight before Pingu and Dolly kind of started doing their thing of not wanting to go in the barn. So anyway, when I found her the next morning, she was absolutely drenched. I felt terrible for her. She went straight in the barn, ate a good meal, and warmed up and dried off. Yesterday, when the tree trimmers came, I obviously had to put all the animals into the barn, and I didn't count because I didn't see any chickens out. It seemed like everybody was in the barn. I didn't realize until this morning that Nova was not in the barn. So she was out in the storm again, and I didn't notice her until this morning. I feel horrible. Rest assured, I will be making sure in the future to count all of them to make sure that they're in there, because I don't know with this chicken. I feel so bad for her. She's not like super friendly, understandably, but she is sweet. I mean, she's a good hen, and she doesn't deserve all the things that have happened to her. That's the story of Nova. Thankfully, she survived, and I hope to God that never happens again. I think I just need to hand in my hobby farming card if that happens again. I felt terrible. So I'm a bit of a weather geek. I have a personal weather station that I use, but I realized recently that the calibration is off. It's actually giving us estimations of rainfall on the low side. So I ended up getting an old school rain gauge. I'll insert a clip of me checking this earlier. So I gotta figure out when it started raining, but this is overflowing, and that's somewhere over 8 inches. I'm gonna empty it now and see what we get for the rest of the day. Oh my goodness, so much rain. They always underpredict our rain totals up here. I think it's just a very difficult thing to do for a number of different reasons. The, leeward versus windward side of the mountain, and, how you're positioned in relation to the coast. So that can actually make the rainfall totals vary drastically at different points on the mountain. Anyway, I'm super obsessive with this stuff. I don't know why. I've always just been really fascinated with weather. I think the total that my weather station was predicting for this first round of storms was, I want to say, around 3 inches. We got a lot more than that. And we have the next storm coming in on Monday. So for now, nothing's going to really improve. We're still going to be dealing with mud, potentially downed trees, and all that fun stuff. I'll probably put some text right here to let you know how much rain we've actually gotten this year so far, plus the totals from mid-December, which is when all these storms started piling up. It's impressive. It's a lot of rain. You guys ready for Betty? Oh, hello, friend. It's a little bit early for bedtime, but on a day like today, I very often put them to bed early because they're stuck in the barn anyway. See if I can manage this without startling the deer. We have a habit of walking super slowly around the wildlife, just so that we have like a mutual respect with each other. It's worked pretty well. Most of the animals don't just totally dart away. We want them here, even the bobcat brings us a lot of happiness to have all these animals that come and use our meadow. It's really sweet. Miss Nova girl! All right, we're gonna get you in the barn tonight, Nova, okay? I already gave you an egg, Dolly. All right, so everybody's in the barn except for Dolly and Pingu, which is pretty typical. It's not supposed to rain much tonight, and I got the tarp back up, so they should be okay. I'd prefer if they went in the barn, but again, quality versus quantity of life. I'm not gonna force them. I'm just glad they were in the barn last night, because that was the worst of the storm. And now that this is all clipped up and taken care of, knock on wood, but I don't expect any branches to be coming down off of this. Everybody's locked in, and we do it all again tomorrow. All right, see you guys in the morning. Night, night, everybody.